What is a true fact that sounds like a conspiracy theory? The dolphin LSD experiment. NASA put a woman in a room that was flooded up to her hips, let a dolphin loose in there to live with her in order to attempt to teach the dolphin to speak English. LSD was later used on the dolphin to see if it had some kind of reaction if it affected its speech lessons. You forgot the best part, where apparently the dolphin was constantly horny, so the lady had to keep jerking it off. It's even better than that, because before it got to that, they used to bring in a female dolphin for conjugal visits, but the scientists decided that interacting with another dolphin would have a negatively impact on his ability to learn. Johnson & Johnson knew there was asbestos in baby powder for 40 years. Saddam Hussein was given the key to the city of Detroit, and he didn't even try unlocking it once. What a waste. The reason only the orange variety of carrots is widely available is because the Dutch like the color orange. They leveraged their powerful trade networks to make it so. I love that everything else on this thread is about assassination and biochem warfare, and then there's just the Dutch wanting everyone to think only orange carrots are available. Wait, there's other colors of carrots? Carrots are readily available in 5 main colors in the stores these days: orange, red, purple, white, and yellow. Each color has a different health benefit. Orange carrots contain beta-carotene, with some alpha-carotene, both of which are orange pigments. The egg industry as a whole embarked on a 2-year war on a single vegan mayo brand. Do go on. Generally curious now. The US conducted a fake vaccination drive to find Osama bin Laden. The US government tested drugs and chemical weapons on its own soldiers, and various animals during the Cold War at the Edgewood Arsenal facility. It's also where we got bulletproof vests and some vaccines. If you want to ruin your day, look up "Bad Trip to Edgewood." The CIA ran experiments with LSD at McGill University in Montreal. Hey, it was the Cold War. If you weren't experimenting with LSD, you weren't trying. The Hawaiian royalty was toppled by a fruit company, Dole. Fruit companies did all sorts of crazy and terrible shiz. There's a reason we have the term Banana Republic. It originally referred to puppet governments installed by mostly US-based fruit companies to exploit cheap labor and land in prime fruit-growing regions. And now it's a chain of stores that sells overpriced clothes. My Banana Republic dress shirts last. Those bitches are quality as hell. GM bought the electric railcar system, then destroyed the tracks. The documentary Who Killed the Electric Car has a great summary of this and other things GM have done to make sure cars are the dominant form of transportation. The documentary, taken for a ride by Martha Olson and Jim Klein, presents significant variables to consider, which help to offer an explanation as to why the US has terrible public transportation, congested roadways, and sprawl, among other problems. The US government did biological warfare testing on the public in San Francisco. Bioweapon testing in San Francisco. The CIA has a real deal heart attack gun. It was exposed to the public in the 70s. Edit. Hey, race an article/video about it. Not only does the US Gov have a heart attack gun, it also has other means of sci-fi spy weapons, such as mounted radar dishes that can cause mass hysteria for crowd control via high-pressure frequency waves, among other crowd manipulation devices. Project Sunshine, in which the US government, in the wake of dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, ordered a major study to better understand the effects of radiation exposure/nuclear fallout on the human body, so an international network of agents was recruited to locate recently deceased children, and steal body parts from them to use for testing. Both the US and Russia used dolphins and whales to spy on countries. Edit. The US also uses seals as in the animals for protection at some of their marine bases. And thank you for so many upvotes. Next up, sharks with laser beams on their heads. That's frickin' laser beams to you, sir. It's entirely possible to receive your tax forms pre-filled by the US government. They already have all your information, and this is the way it's done in other Western nations. Unfortunately, the owners of TurboTax have paid off enough congressmen to keep it from happening. In fact, they're not content with just stopping it, they want to make sure it's impossible forever, and they're about to succeed. Tax Day. The FBI was constantly stalking Ernest Hemingway, and that led to his suicide. But why? Ernie liked to travel to Cuba. Cuba even made a stamp of Hemingway. Hemingway, being extremely popular and a world-class writer, could very quickly and effectively sway public opinion if he wanted to, by publishing a well-written book or essay. The FBI didn't want any surprises. Edit. Spelling. Not quite. Hemingway was recruited by Soviet intelligence, so the surveillance likely wasn't out of nowhere. The FBI murdered Fred Hampton. COINTELPRO is also something completely fudging messed up that they did, which had wide-ranging negative effects on communities of traditionally disenfranchised groups. One of many actions undertaken covertly and illegally at the expense of these people. Operation Paperclip. Recruit Nazi scientists and insert them into key government tech operations after World War II. This is how the world transitioned from the German V-2 rocket to NASA and the ICBM in the span of 30 years. Asterisk. After the war ended, we were snatching up crowd scientists like hotcakes. You don't believe me? Walk into NASA sometime and yell Heil Hitler. Woo. They all jump straight up. Asterisk. _ Mallory Archer. Yes. The ancient Egyptians had a pregnancy test that actually worked. The FBI sent an anonymous letter to Martin Luther King Jr. telling him to kill himself. Added the link for context. Was very tired last night when I posted this and didn't even think to actually give people access to the letter. My bad. The FBI invented Xbox Chat. The FBI fudged MLK's mom. The FBI's mom and little brother can be heard arguing in the background. Don't forget the vacuum. Dog barking at vacuum. The US government pardoned hundreds of Japanese war criminals who did things that would have made Joseph Menschel blush in exchange for their research on biological warfare that they conducted on live human subjects. Project Northwoods. JFK was proposed an idea from the CIA in which they would rain terror on the American people via random terrorist attacks, military ships being sunk and plane hijackings in which they would blame on Cuba and therefore get the public behind the idea to go to war with Cuba. Thankfully, JFK declined. These types of plans are proposed all the time. False flags are a way to establish policy. Hopefully they aren't done most of the time. Hopefully. Lusitania. Oddly enough, turns out the Germans were right. It was carrying war material.